October 16, 2010, just 3 months after I had the pleasure of meeting Michael Eyedea Larsen in New York City at a performance, he passed away. I wrote this the day that I found out. Music and humanity lost a good member. Rest in peace, rap in paradise. I have no idea how to try to cope. The tragedy grabs at me by the throat. I find I felt for you like you were my firstborn. Listening to all of your art, my Oliver Heart hurts more. I have no idea how to try to cope. The tragedy grabs at me by the throat. I find I felt for you like you were my firstborn. Listening to all of your art, my Oliver Heart hurts more.
Because you're dead, wishing you were alive. Feeling empty since you left and yet inspired to survive. Something melted inside when the news hit my ears. Feel I'm missing a sibling with which I grew amid my years. We met when you performed this summer in New York. Burnt fetish like an arsonist. Made smart remarks to kids. Harmless grip on my arm as we parted lips to harmonize in the darkness into the same microphone. Mike Larsen, as he'd always steal shows, is one of my heroes. Because, well fuck, I mean was, as now his life is gone. You colored your world yours and our world more. You should have been twice as known. Never generic as if adrenaline and esoteric lessons were embedded, edited in your genetics. Sped up sentences, effortless, affectionate, emotional. Although every opponent know to be overthrown. These wild freestyle skills undeniable. Genre undefinable. Integrated innovation. Beautiful musings through his music while cruising through the blinding light like in step by step. Can imagine the birth of a bigger fish whose swimmer fins could fill the shoe size here you left. No one wants to wear those eerie shorts that claim ideas dead. You've written grim predictions or coincidences. At the very least, your friend's death in October has spoken hay fever. And according to the addictions and is recording amid the fiction, adoring of physics, exploring a religion. No string needle stash in the hay fever stack. Whatever bane leaves you thrash this world, they need you back.
I have no idea how to try to cope. The tragedy grabs at me by the throat. I find I felt for you like you were my firstborn. Listening to all of your art, my Oliver Heart hurts more. I have no idea how to try to cope. The tragedy grabs at me by the throat. I find I felt for you like you were my firstborn. Listening to all of your art, my Oliver Heart hurts more.
Stars was destroyed. I don't know how to act right now. This is junk. I don't wanna have the right to think, to have to think, to write about. Sensible and scarily true how clarity is bruised and dead by losing him. What don't kill me? You knew the rest. But I prefer a lunatic that continues to live, whose music's sick than this lucid print of confusion glimpsed upon the clouded thoughts of my brain. Liquid sovereignty reigns on my parade. Doused and offered a raining lump in my throat as I choke on powdered water that I recall your Adam's apple. Don't tell me where the arrow's seeking. I don't know where this big shot's well-being was blind fired skydiving dove from. But life's murder of you is a memory that has my smile broke up. Influenced leagues of listeners and people that seen you grow up. Ours thrown up to raise the roof of their skulls just to know what their soul touched. Everyone who was here for you's jaw dropped when you'd show up with every mind-blowing concept you spoke of. Quite honestly, a wild oddity, child prodigy. And when I met you, I wish I met a man who trained himself not to bottle dream and disappeared into a great lake effect. A sea of collected tears that made me hate to take a breath. This dark and blasphemous hell spins cycles around my void head like a carbon carousel. The stones and rocks are there as well, beating the many-faced candies till its sugary fake glass breaks.
I have no idea how to try to cope. The tragedy grabs at me by the throat. I find I felt for you like you were my firstborn. Listening to all of your art, my Oliver Heart hurts more. I have no idea how to try to cope. The tragedy grabs at me by the throat. I find I felt for you like you were my firstborn. Listening to all of your art, my Oliver Heart hurts more. I have no idea how to try to cope. The tragedy grabs at me by the throat. I find I felt for you like you were my firstborn. Listening to all of your art, my Oliver Heart hurts more. I have no idea how to try to cope. The tragedy grabs at me by the throat. I find I felt for you like you were my firstborn. Listening to all of your art, my Oliver Heart hurts more.
My exhausted love misses you. I hope you're in some paradise kept, because out of E and Eyedea, just Eyedea remains left. We know this is where we were when we wept, wiping blues after we read. Eydea's dead like those shirts he pressed. Back then we were sure impressed, but now we're all depressed since he wrecked each set he blessed. And despite your song with Sean Daly, we'll mourn daily and never forget.
Never forget. This is just a little tribute and a minor thank you and an offering for the influence and the genius that Mikey was. Everybody has this same similar beautiful experience of him that made them feel like they were unique. And he was a truly genius individual and an ideal artist. Forever fearless, forever experimenting, hilarious, well-rounded, knowledgeable, loving. Something that not only his music but his life can really teach the rest of us. Pay it back and pay it forward. Ain't nothing quite as beautiful as you, kid.